Thank you for joining us today for our Organic Marketing Explained webinar. I'm going to be one of your hosts today, Sandi Maki from the Insights Group.
And I will be the other host, and my name is Al Curtis, also from the Insights Group.
So thank you for joining us today to talk about this really exciting topic. We find it really exciting anyway. Organic marketing is incredible. It is a great way to look at marketing a business, whether it's a small business, large business, anything in between. It can be worked into the plans of a solo entrepreneur up to a large corporation. So this is a fantastic program that we have had so much fun coming up with and working with here.
The reality is as marketing changes, we've had to look at our marketing strategies differently than just a few short years ago. Things have changed so much. Well, organic marketing is looking at your marketing strategy roughly 90 days at a time. So we're taking blocks of 90 days and looking at the different areas of your business and of your marketing plan and being able to adjust them as time goes on. And that's the organic part of this.
Organic marketing is something that we've come up with here at the Insights Group. It is not a program that we found anywhere else, but it's a concept that was originated right here as a result of a lot of the different things that we've been working on. The Insights Group is a small business support community, so we help people with all kinds of different business challenges, marketing challenges, connecting ideas, and new things. And organic marketing is a program that's come out of really some of our masterminding groups have helped work on the concepts and different things like that, but the organic marketing idea originated right here with the Insights Group.
I have to tell the story of how this came about, and Sandi, jump in at any point. We were sitting in a meeting. There were probably a dozen of us around a table, and we're talking about all things marketing, all things philosophizing on life and I guess and on business. And Sandi goes into this scribbling ferociously on a pad of paper sort of mode, like the whole world disappeared, and she went into this and she's writing. Well, we're discussing whatever the topic was, and she gets up, walks to the head of the room, picks up on the whiteboard, picks up the marker and starts drawing out what you guys are about to see, the organic marketing tic-tac-toe board. Well, she writes it down, and we're all sitting there looking at her, having no idea what she's doing. So we sit, and we wait, and we watch, and we keep talking, and she sits back down, and we're almost to the end of the meeting, and I say, do you care to share what this is? And boom, here it is, this whole plan, and we were all in shock. Somebody grabbed their camera, took pictures. It was just an amazing process of here's this simple, basic tool to look at an entire marketing plan. And from that grew in the details and exactly what fit into these quadrants and categories. But it was a very, very cool story. Do you have anything to add, Sandi, with regard to that?
I'm trying to think from my perspective how I would explain what happened. And you're right, we were sitting in a meeting, we were talking about things almost completely unrelated. And somehow the question that I think I was pondering was, there's so many different marketing choices. How could it be simplified, and how could a person have an idea where they should start? How can we take everything that we talk about day in and day out and put it down into some way that people could figure out what to do with it? I had my whoop pad, as we call it. We were able to watch a very wonderful speaker, Steve Barber, and he had this concept of the whoop pad. And this whoop pad is something that you carry around with you everywhere you go, and as ideas hit you, you write them down. Well, I had mine, and that's where I started writing. Somehow I put a tic-tac-toe board down, and everything else filled into the spaces. So it was absolutely incredible. I don't even think I knew what it was when I went to put it on the board. I think I got more of an idea after seeing everybody else's reactions that, wow, this is probably something really incredible.
It was almost as if you had this download. The universe, the infinite knowledge, wherever that was placed, was just downloaded like a computer, downloaded straight to you. It was a very amazing thing, and as a result, some pretty cool stuff that I do think is revolutionary and really changes how marketing is approached. So why don't we get into it a little bit?
Absolutely.
So as we said, organic marketing begins with a tic-tac-toe board. So the concept of tic-tac-toe, as most people have played as a kid and even as an adult, is to get 3 in a row and win. Well, what does that mean? When you play tic-tac-toe, what's the basic strategy?
When I play tic-tac-toe, I try to go for the center square. I know sometimes if we're playing tic-tac-toe and we've got a lot of time, I'll start another squares around the board just to see what happens. But I know if time is of the essence and I'd like to win the game quickly, trying to get the center square makes the most sense. From that, I typically wait to see what the other guy is going to do, and I try to get 3 in a row, because when you get 3 in a row, you win the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, in the reality, too, if you can get the center square first, you have 4 ways of winning. If you start on the edge, you only have 3 ways of winning. If you start on the middle edge, you have 2 ways of winning the game. So getting that middle square gives you 4 possible chances for winning. So with that, that's where our marketing tic-tac-toe starts, is you in the middle square. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through this process of the 9 squares and give you brief descriptions of each. The center being you. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started with you, the center square.
In terms of marketing, I think things have changed quite a bit. I know everybody that's hearing all the hype about social media, the way that business is changing, that companies are having to make different decisions when it comes to their marketing and advertising budgets. Really, the foundation and the basis of all marketing has to start with you. Whether you are a solo entrepreneur, whether you are a large company, the center square, that piece of you that identifies what is your mission, what is your vision, what does the world look like as a result of you doing what you do in it, and making sure that you're on target with what you're supposed to be doing. I know when people, it's almost overused in a sense, but if people say, you know, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work another day in your life, I like to ask people the question, if you never got paid again, what would you be doing? If that is what you're doing right now, you're definitely on track. If it's not what you're doing, finding out if there's a way that you can incorporate some of those pieces of what you would do if you never got paid are great ways to look at that foundation to make sure that everything is centered and working really well.
And I think what happens oftentimes in business, I've been an entrepreneur all my life and been involved in many different businesses, but we oftentimes get started in business to make money. And of course, the goal is, I'm going to do this as a career to make money, and of course that's important. But over time, the purity of why we do what we do gets lost. And so that center square view is really identifying you as the organization. What do you stand for? Who are you? What's your belief system in what you're doing? If you're a marketing team, if you're a team of people, a management team or a sales team, how are you working as an organization toward something? What's the culture that you create within that organization? Are you a bunch of hodgepodge independent people trying to do totally different things, or are you working as a team? And that's what that you is. You is the one person or the 1,000 people. It doesn't matter, but it's identifying the organization and who you really are. And what is the persona of that organization? So share with us a little bit about personal branding and persona branding as we talk about it here.
Persona branding is something that we talk about quite a bit. It's branding you and your persona. This does not mean that this is branding you and all the personal details about you, but it's those things that you can release to the public that are a great part of your marketing strategy. Your persona, whether it's you as the individual or you as the company, as Al mentioned, are going to be those things as they relate to the corporate culture. Here at the Insights Group, Al and I have this in the back of our minds in almost every decision that we make. If we're not having fun, if it's not exciting, if it's not pushing the envelope just a little bit, then it's probably not something that's going to make our radar on a daily basis. Of course, there's those things that we sometimes just have to do because we know they're for the good of the company and moving forward. But really, the culture of the Insights group is a place where people get to explore who they are, have a great time doing it, and find themselves in a better position after they've moved forward with something. So that's really, that culture and that energy signature and that persona brand of the Insights group is all about forward thinking, having fun doing it, and being empowered to be yourself the entire time.
And I do think that gets lost oftentimes in business because we think we're supposed to be something else than we are. We think that we're supposed to put on this persona of something that we're not to impress our clients, to impress our colleagues and whatnot. And the reality is, if you're not truly being yourself as an organization, it's not going to go very far. I think that's that culture. What is it that you really stand for? And you're right about us here at the Insights Group, and people say it all the time when they come here, is it makes me feel different. Makes me be willing to try things. And we hear stories all the time of people doing things that they couldn't imagine they would do. And it's all in good fun. It's all good and positive. We don't have anyone do something here that we wouldn't be willing to do ourselves. So we're helping people push themselves to really explore the unexplored pieces of who they are. Well, that's what we need to find out as an organization, is what's the culture that we want to create. And I know you and I, as part of the Insights Group, have created that culture of open-mindedness, people willing to try just because we ask them to try. And again, that's a huge piece of creating a culture and growing personally. And that's the you in this. To me, the you in this, more than anything else, is those individual people on a growth growth process, growing personally, growing professionally, educating themselves a little bit farther, deeper into what they do.
The foundation really is you. And in the persona branding too, it's important to remember that now more than ever, people want to do business with people, not necessarily with the company. So leading with your persona brand does include your picture, your bio, your information, anywhere and everywhere that you can put that, because people don't want to see, I'm doing business with this company. They want to know that person that they're doing business with. So again, one of the points that I'd like to stress here is everything that we'll talk about both online and offline strategy. But keeping in mind the center square of you starts with that foundation. You and your persona, including your picture, is an essential part of this entire marketing puzzle coming together.
Well, and that's why the you being the center of this whole tic-tac-toe board is so important. Because once you figure out you, the rest of it comes together, but you're the central core. Once you identify yourself and you create that persona brand and you're using your picture and you're doing all those things, that gives you the strength and the backbone to be able to work into these other squares. And let's move on to the next square, which again, now this helps identify another huge piece of the equation.
Absolutely. When we talk about the 9 tic-tac-toe squares, you can start from the top left-hand corner and number them across. So connections is 1, social networks is 2, targeting your audience is 3, energy signatures 4, you is 5, the stuff is 6. Thinking like a customer would be 7, alliance is 8, and your online house would be 9. We don't necessarily start moving around the board. We start in the middle because that's the first square that people would go to if playing tic-tac-toe. Anybody can start in any of the following squares, but for a company starting out or someone who's trying to navigate their new direction according to the Marketing Tic-Tac-Toe board, there is an order that we're going to take you in. Again, when you play tic-tac-toe, it's just like when marketing your business. Depending on the stage that your company is in, maybe you've already defined your target and you need to work on something else. But for the sake of argument right now, we're going to take you to targeting your audience and figuring out what that looks like.
So in this square, we're talking about targeting your audience. If we understand the personality of the type of people that we want to do business with, if we understand who and what they are and how they purchase and what they're looking for, it's a whole lot easier than just broadcast marketing to the entire world. Why don't we target an audience that wants to hear our message? I think one of the things that we teach specifically on this topic is first understanding yourself. in terms of personality. If available, I would highly recommend, and I know we've done an awful lot of personality studies here, but take the DISC profiling. Look at the Florence Littauer Personality Plus system. A lot of those, there's a lot of different ones out there. You can use any of them that you want, but really understanding your personality and then understanding the type of personality of your potential client helps focus and target down who specifically you're looking for.
When people ask questions about, okay, how should I be marketing? Who should I be marketing to? If we were to ask, who is your customer? A lot of people at first glance, without having thought about it, might say, well, anybody is my customer. But is anybody really your customer? If you were to stand on the street corner and shout out your message, what's the likelihood that every single person passing by would need what you have? You have to really identify, is my client primarily going to be male? Are they going to be female? Do they fit into a certain age demographic? And as Al mentioned, personality goes into it quite a bit. There's typically, depending on which study you use, there's typically 4 different personality quadrants that people have some primary and some secondary characteristics. Well, it's important to take a look at what those characteristics are, because even if you narrow down your target market and if you know that they're women between the ages of 30 and 50, you still have to examine what are the primary personality characteristics of those customers who would buy my product. Because again, you can stand on the street corner and shout all you want, but if your message is not getting to the ears of the right people, you're just standing there wasting your time.
That's for sure. I have an explanation of marketing that I use in a lot of cases, and it's as if, say I'm a client, or I'm just the person in the world that's hearing these marketing messages, of which there's a lot coming at us every day. We all walk around with a sort of a bubble, an invisible bubble around us that prevents us from hearing those messages. They bounce right off. But marketing, the idea of marketing is to keep hitting that bubble until a message gets through. So if I'm not interested, if you're screaming on the street corner like Sandy was mentioning, and it doesn't pertain to me, that message bounces right off and it goes wherever it goes. But if I hear that message enough, my brain interprets it as, this is important information, I need to follow up on this and find out more about it. And eventually that message gets through that bubble. Well, if you just keep shouting to the world, there's a lot of wasted expense and a lot of time and energy. If we target more specifically to that demographic, it's a great way of figuring out who it is and then target that message. Do you have any examples maybe of a client that we worked with that relating to this in terms of how we could drill down their client list?
Absolutely. And I'd like to mention too that when you know who your target audience is, you also know how to craft your message to the people that are in between you and your target audience, those bridges, if you will, that you'll be talking to. So instead of you sharing your message with people and having them try to determine, well, do I fit, am I not a fit, when you know who your target is, you know specifically how to communicate that message so that people know at a glance really quickly who it is that you're looking to talk with. I do have an example of someone that we've worked on targeting with. We've worked with someone who does antique furniture restoration. When we talked to this individual, we asked, so who is your target audience? Who is your target client? There's a very specific demographic that comes up when you think about the considerations in working with someone who's going to have some furniture restored. We could say the client is anybody because, yeah, everybody has furniture. But when we think about it more, who is going to be likely to take some antique furniture and have it restored? This is not an inexpensive project to be undertaking. So this isn't something that just anybody is going to go find a piece of furniture and bring it in, spend a lot of money on it to put it in their house. Typically somebody who's wanting to restore some furniture is going to have maybe a sentimental tie to it. So who's going to be inheriting some furniture that might need a little bit of TLC? A lot of times women are the ones who get the furniture. They're interested in, hanging on to it for family value. There are some men, definitely, I won't leave them out. There are some men who would also be in the same position, but primarily women are probably going to be the more likely person that's going to want their furniture refinished. Well, besides that, we can look at, okay, so women. Where would these women fit? What age range would they be in? What income level? Probably not somebody just getting out of high school, starting college. These are probably women that have families, their parents may be getting older, grandparents may be getting older. They probably have been in their career for a little while, and they would have a discretionary income that they could spend on refinishing this furniture. So instead of saying that a furniture restoration person should go after everybody, no, very specifically, if you're in the business of antique furniture restoration, your target audience is probably women, and they're probably between the ages of about 40 and 60. There's going to definitely be customers that will fit in different age and different ranges, but as a primary target in getting your message out specifically, that's probably going to be a very good place to start.
So in that particular case, if you've now identified 40 to 60-year-old women, 40 to 60-year-old women don't hang out at the same places that 20-year-old women typically hang out, nor do they hang out at the football game where most of the men hang out, nor do they. So where are they? They're in different types of organizations in different places, and the message can be crafted to get to them directly, whether it's women's organizations, whether it's anything related to that. How about the Historic Society? There's a great place that's probably going to be predominantly women. So that market could be targeted very specifically to those people because that's who's more likely to buy the product. You can scream all you want at the 22-year-old to sell a restoration of a furniture, but most 22-year-olds, number one, aren't interested in that, and they probably don't have the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to do that work. So I absolutely agree with you that that's a great target, and there's specific places that those people hang out. Now it's getting the message to them.
So think about this in terms of your own business. Who is your target audience? And get very specific about who is most likely to be the person that's going to buy your product or your service. Once you figure out who your target audience is, then we can start thinking like a customer.
So thinking like a customer, this is the TLC in what we do. If you were your client, what would you be looking for when someone came to sell the product that you sell to them? If you think like them and you think about it from their perspective, it's a whole different view than coming at it from the perspective of your current perspective. You know what you know, and you know a lot of it. I know when selling the things that I've sold in the past, I have a tremendous amount of knowledge about it. My client doesn't. But if I come at it from my perspective, I unload on him or her so much information that probably bogs them down, and my message isn't real clear. But if I was thinking like them, saying, why would I want to buy this, and craft my message according to that idea, it's a much clearer and much simpler process.
The ABC list is also a part of this square. And when I start thinking like a customer, I might look at it at first glance and not be really sure how I can start thinking like a customer. The ABC list is a way of categorizing people that you know, people that you've worked with, and people that you hope to know into some different categories so that you know how to work with them. The ABC list is also a great way for you to think like your customer by determining who your customers have been. If you can look at who is currently doing business with you, or if you're just starting out, who do you hope would be doing business with you, then put yourself in their shoes. Think about what kind of information you would need at first glance to be able to make a decision about whether or not to work with you. What types of information do you need? Again, as Al said, we know everything that there is to know about our business. The customers that we work with don't need to know everything that we know about our business. They need to know enough to make a good decision about whether or not to work with us. So make sure that you're thinking like a customer and determining what those pieces are, what those elements are that the customer is going to need from you to be able to make that choice, to have that confidence with you and be able to work with you in the future.
And I think when you're mentioning the ABC list, that list is a combination of all the people that you've either done business with or people that you just know, friends, family relations, people that you know, and categorizing them A, B, and C A being the hot list. Those are the people that already know, love, and trust you. They're already ready to go if you have something for them, or they're willing to spread your message. Well, you market to them differently than you'd market to the B list or the C list. And the C list is the people you don't even know. You just maybe know their name, but you don't know enough about them. You want to work them to becoming part of that A list. Well, our marketing coming from the perspective of the customer, what is it that I want to see? What's the compelling reason that I would buy this product? Is exactly what our message should say. And without our message specifically addressing their need, we miss the target and we're far less likely to get the sale. So at this point, we have 3 in a row. That's a winning combination right there. And why do you think that is? I'll tell you what I think, maybe, and Sandy, you can add some as well. 3 in a row in the organic marketing, tic-tac-toe, gives us some traction. If we know us as the organization, we know exactly who we're targeting, and we know how our customer's thinking. Do you think we have some good, solid, rubber meets the road traction in our marketing?
As long as we know who our target audience is, and if we're thinking like them so we know how to communicate with them, chances are business is happening. So absolutely, this is traction, and this is a great foundation. This is the recommended path if somebody is brand new in business and just starting out and they say, I need some help, I just need to figure out where to get started. This is the path that I would take them on. Again, if you've been in business for a while, it never hurts to re-examine this because target audiences may change and the way that your customers are thinking may change. So you do have to check in with this. As Al said, we define our marketing now in 90 days instead of long term. So every 90 days we should look at our audience, make sure that we're still hitting that same target, and then figure out what's changing in the way that the customer is thinking so that we can stay on top of that and we can stay in front of and where our customer is.
Yeah, I think there's so much to be said for the first 3 here. These 3 in a row is probably what gives any organization, whether a brand new organization or been around for a while, a good foundation. Typically, we don't work on these areas. We jump right into our advertising budgets and we start doing all these things and we join the chamber, which is all great stuff, but it's just a piece of the equation. I think these really help us identify specifically who we are, which is key, who the client is and how they think. So let's keep moving. We've got plenty to cover here, and let's move into the next square.
The next square happens to be one of my favorite. It works very closely with the center square view. It works with all of the other squares, but it's really a lot of fun to think about. The energy signature is what you really need to remember when it comes to marketing your business. Everybody and everything, every company has an energy signature. This is what people think of when your name comes to mind. This is what people think of you after you've left the room. Al likes to always refer to a story about he was in a room and there was a gentleman who walked in and an immediate hush fell across the room. And they knew, the entire audience knew that somebody very, very important had just stepped into the room and he didn't even have to say a word. That's a very powerful energy signature. So congratulations. In your business, you really get to craft that energy signature, define it, and figure out what you want that to be. Because we all want to have a very strong energy signature when we come to the top of people's minds. The energy signature also carries into everything else that we're doing, whether it's online, whether it's offline, in our stuff, in our marketing brochures and all that. The energy signature is present in everything that we do. And because we're in charge of our business in this marketing tic-tac-toe, we really get to decide what is that going to be.
You know what really tickles me about the energy signature, and I think about this often, is do I want to be the type of person when I walk into the room, the lights go up, or if I walk into the room seems to dim? And I've thought about that oftentimes because we all know people who they walk in their room and it just seems like a cloud came in and the curtains got shut and the lights got dim and they suck out our energy. And I don't want to be that type of person. I do not want to be the person that everyone's going, oh no, so-and-so just came in the room. Well, that's a very poor energy signature. That's a place, someone's coming from a dark place when their energy does that to everyone else, but we can feel it. There's no way of quantifying the amount of energy and the this and the that, but we sense it. Just as human beings, we sense and we feel that. Well, everything we do carries an energy signature. When we hand out our business card carries our energy signature. It carries along a piece of us in terms of the memory that that person has once they take that card. If you just throw your card in a hat and there's no attachment to it, it's very difficult for someone to really remember you and who you are and what you're all about. But if you present the card to them, and of course we're going to recommend it has a picture of you on anyway, and a very fun picture if nothing else, that shows that you have that energy side, and that again helps people want to remember you and your organization and to share that message with other people.
The energy signature has a lot of components to it. As Al mentioned, we always recommend that people have their picture on their business cards. I recommend that you put your picture anywhere and everywhere you possibly can. Not very comfortable at first, I'll give you that much. When we started doing that for the Insights group, it wasn't very comfortable. You know what it did though? It opened the door. People who had seen my picture, I know from personal experience, if they had seen my picture before they met me, as soon as they met me for the first time, they felt like they already knew me. So part of your energy signature is introducing yourself to people before you ever walk in the room. And that can be handled by making sure that you do have a good picture. We have several pictures and we use them in different aspects. Some of them are a little silly, some are funny, and some are a little more serious. So you can have a different picture, a different persona, depending on where you put that. But it's just critical that you put yourself out there. It's more important that people know who you are than you having this perfect in-a-box, persona that people really don't think about. You want to be the person on people's minds. You want to be the one that they remember, especially if you're in an industry where there's a lot of different things, insurance agents, banking. There's all kinds of different examples where we have so many choices as a consumer. You want to be the person with the strongest energy signature, the most fun, the one that people want to come to because they know that's where they can go for their answers. And it's a great experience to work with you. Why wouldn't you want that as your energy signature? You want to be the person that people just have to have instead of the person that people settle for because they can't find anybody else.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. A quick Sandi story. When we first got started, and she was very effectively using her energy signature through her emails with her picture. She's got a great title, the First Lady of the organization. We would go to events, and people would walk up there and go, I know you. I feel like I know you. You're Sandi Maki. You're the First Lady. It comes through. Your energy comes through in your picture. Because in every one of her emails, she has a picture of her as her signature on the way out. She has basically a business card on her email. And so many people came up to us and felt like they already knew her. They already knew her name, and they knew so much about her because of that energy signature that got to them before she ever did. And so, Sandi, you did a great job with that, and you're definitely the epitome of what we're talking about with energy signatures.
Thanks.
Yeah. Very cool. Energy signature, great stuff. A lot of investigating going in here. There's so much to be talking about on that. But again, tonight's webinar is simply an introduction to this. We do go into great detail and a lot of different avenues to talk more about it, but right now we just want to touch on it. So let's move on to the next square.
The next square is directly above the energy signature. When we're talking about navigating this marketing tic-tac-toe board, of course, we already got 3 in a row when we went through you, the target, and thinking like a customer. So that's really gotten us some traction. Now that we've been thinking like our customer, we've been putting together our energy signature, now it's time to really consider those connections. What are those ways that we're meeting new people, connecting with them, networking with them? How are we sharing our energy signature, conveying the message of who our target audience is, and compiling more people in that ABC list that know, love, and trust us? The entire process of connecting is meeting new people, solidifying relationships with people that we already know, and really creating some of those strong bonds with the A-list, those people that would do anything for us. If there was something new that you had to talk about, you could pick up the phone, you could send them an email, and they would be right there for you. So there's a lot that goes into creating and maintaining these connections.
For sure. The concept of networking is not a new concept, but connections takes networking to another level. Oftentimes, I certainly can draw from my experience. If I were going to a networking event, my initial idea and thought years ago when doing this was, I need to meet a lot of people. Well, that's a bit of the old style of networking, is just having to meet people. Today, I understand it's more about connecting with those people. And if I can meet, and I set a goal when I go to any type of event, to try to meet 5 people, solid people, meet them and get to know them pretty well, and connect with them. Because they're simply, I may do business with them, but that's not really my goal anymore. When I would go years ago, I often thought, I got to get business, I got to get business. And so I tried to sell to the people that were there. Today, understanding connections, they're the bridge to the people that they know. So I can try to sell to Joe at that event, or I can have a great conversation with Joe and get him to know, love, and trust me, and Joe's more likely to tell the 200 people he knows about me if he really likes me. So I can sell one time, or I have the chance of selling 200 times by making that same connection. So I do think, again, it's a little shift from what we typically do at networking events, and it's certainly something we teach here, is don't go expecting to just grab business cards. You might as well throw them in the garbage. That's not what it's there for. Go and set a goal to meet 5 or 6 or 7 new people. So if it's a meeting of 10, great. If it's a meeting of 100, great. What's your goal? Meet 5 or 6 or 7 people. So just because there's only going to be 10 people there, that doesn't mean it's not an effective meeting. That's tremendously effective. It's probably even more so than the large groups.
As a rule of thumb, I like to suggest to people when they're putting together their marketing strategy, this goes for connecting especially, 30% of our marketing efforts should go to finding new customers, meeting new people, kind of advertising to those people who don't know us yet. 10% should go to the universe at large. Those are things that are going to reach the ears of a lot of different people. But 60% of our marketing efforts should be geared towards people that we already know. This works in terms of networking events themselves. It also works in just reconnecting with our existing client base. So when we talk about connections, it's not only seeking out those new people, but it's also maintaining those connections with people that we already know. The first time that I meet somebody, even if I need their service, I'm probably not going to do business with them right away, immediately that first day, unless, of course, it's a very time-sensitive matter. But typically, if I meet somebody new and I do need their service, it's going to take me several chance encounters, several meetings with them, several discussions before I'm really at that point where I'm going to buy, or I'm going to sit down with them and identify more of what my needs are. So as you're connecting, keep in mind that the connection is as much about meeting new people, but it's more about solidifying some of those bonds. When I go to a networking event, I love hearing people saying, oh, there's nobody new here, I already know everybody. Honestly, those are my favorite events, because that means that I have enough time to connect with everybody that I already know. And guess what? When you already know somebody, you can just happen by and connect with them just for a minute and move on to the next person, because you don't have to take that time to do that ice breaking and get to know them and figure out who they are, remember their name, all that good stuff. So really, connecting at networking events where you already know a lot of people is a brilliant place to be, and spend your time making sure that you've touched everybody, that you've made everybody feel important, that you remember them, that you value them, and that you're enjoying that experience of being with them.
Yeah, your words are tremendous and need to be spoken more often. There's so many rules that people try to follow in the world of networking, and that you hear the old cliches, it's networking, not net sitting, and it's all these other things. The reality is it's simply connecting the dots. And if you already know someone and you reestablish with them, you become part of frontal local awareness again. And that's the goal, to stay in the front of someone's mind so that when they're out in the community and they hear someone needing what you have to offer, they remember you and they send the person to you. So they're really our bridges to connect us with that next layer of people.
When we're figuring out where to connect with our connections, we're going to move into the next square, which identifies social networks, both online and offline. When you make a new connection with somebody, social media has made it very, very easy for you to connect with them and solidify that bond. If you meet the first time and they give you a business card and you happen to get their email address, you can go online and you can look up that person on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. So if you've met them once and then you find them online, that relationship is stronger because you get to learn more about them. You get to see their picture and really start remembering who that person is. Offline social networks are different things, different clubs and associations that you may be a part of. Again, these are also great places for you to have this connection with people, both meeting new people and solidifying relationships with people that you already know.
And the key with that is creating relationships. That's, again, social media has made this so much simpler for us to meet a large number of people and develop relationships. Prior to social media, we had social networks, which were live events, which you certainly can do that, but it's more difficult because it's a lot of time. Social media today allows us to stay in touch with people in that soft touch all the time so that there's that frontal lobe awareness and that they're remembering who and what we are. But creating those relationships, again, an awful underrated place right now. People don't realize, well, I shouldn't say that because things have changed. We've shifted in the last couple of years. The realization of how important relationships are have come to front. I know in my previous businesses, one of my mistakes in one of the businesses that I ran was I was always looking for someone new. And what you made the comment about spending 60% of your time within the people you already know in terms of marketing and budgets and whatnot, that was a critical mistake that I didn't make. I spent most of my time and money finding the new client. Just because I had one, I just went spending all my time looking for another one. And the reality is I lost so much potential in all the clients that had I been really servicing their needs and showing them new products and new avenues, my business would have been a whole lot stronger. And I did just fine with that business, but it was always based on the new client. And I realized today how much simpler it would have been to market to people that I already had started to build relationships with. And that's why this square, the creating relationships, is tremendous.
Al and I spend a lot of time talking about online relationships. We have an entire social media series, and we do a lot of keynote presentations on how to create these networks online. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter are all essential in today's business place, but there's definite strategies that people should be thinking about when they're going to use these. A lot of people are using Facebook, and when we come across people using Facebook but not Facebook for business, they say, I really don't know how. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. How do you make this work in terms of business? And there's a whole lot that we could go into. The most important thing is remembering whether it's an online network, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or if it's an offline network, the key is creating those relationships. People who say that, oh, I don't have enough time for Facebook, I don't have enough time for Twitter. You don't have enough time not to be on Facebook and Twitter because those are two of the most amazing places right now that you can be creating relationships for you and your business. LinkedIn is also another essential place. This marketing tic-tac-toe board works for job seekers as well. We've gotten to work with several people who are looking for new opportunities and trying to figure out what to do next. Navigating this game board is absolutely essential, and LinkedIn is the #1 place right now that employers are looking to meet new connections for jobs and for opportunities. So there is incredible opportunity in all of the online as well as all of the offline networks, and you know, we could spend hours and hours talking about that here. We'll move on, but know that if you need more information about the social media aspect of this, there's a lot of resources out there for you.
Just a real quick story on this before we move on is Sandy and I spoke yesterday to a national convention, And I asked the crowd, who here thinks that social media is going to go away? And the reality is no one believes it's going to go away. Some people think it's a fad, it's going to come and go, but the reality is it's here to stay, and it is a powerful tool. Well, just as that crowd said, didn't believe it's going away, we don't believe it's going away either. And it's the new frontier for certain. But the next square that we're going to go into here is the stuff. And the stuff is all the traditional media and the traditional marketing. This is where most people spend 99% of their marketing time, right here in the stuff. And yet, look at, there's so many other squares that should get some attention.
As Al mentioned, the stuff encompasses anything and everything that you could think of. Your business cards, your brochures, radio advertising, television advertising. Again, depending on your industry, each and every one of these components could be very, very important. If you have a marketing budget and you say, I'm going to spread my message via television, if you haven't gone through the process of figuring out who's your target audience, how are you going to think like them, what kind of a message can you craft, how is your energy signature going to be linked to that, you're doing yourself a disservice. So the stuff, again, where a lot of people spend all their time, I see people brand new into business thinking, I need to get my stuff together. I need to get my business cards printed. I need to get, 10,000 flyers so I can pass them all out. Well, again, one of the fundamental things that especially new entrepreneurs do is they put their stuff together with them in mind. They don't put their stuff together with their customer in mind. And what I mean by this, if your personality is one that likes certain colors and looks and feels and all this information, a lot of entrepreneurs put their marketing materials together as if they were going to be the only one reading it. In this stuff, it is so important that you cover all of the other elements. You have to look at who your audience is. You have to look at what is the information that they need. Because if you don't do that, chances are when they get your flyer that you've just spent a lot of time, effort, and money putting it together, they're going to get your flyer and it's not going to do anything for them because you designed it for you, not for them.
There's some interesting statistics that have just come out recently, some studies, and one of the studies is saying that the traditional media advertising, most people just don't believe it initially. And so much so that that the numbers vary a little bit from study to study, but some of the latest stuff that's being going around is that 14% of the people believe the message when it comes through traditional media. And that's not to say that some targeting ads don't work perfectly well. They absolutely do. And this is a piece of the equation. You still have to have a piece of your equation in traditional media, in whether it's in television ads or radio ads or newspapers or magazines. Just depends on what your market is, or having proper business cards and that type of thing. But more people today are believing in word of mouth. 76% of people believe based on referral, based on personal introduction, they believe that message. So we've got traditional marketing is a very difficult place if you continue down that line without adding in this referral-based marketing. And without it, without having some of the referral-based, it's going to cost a lot of money to keep beating the bush on the traditional marketing, which, again, it's a piece of the equation you can't ignore. However, it's not as effective as it once was.
I think a lot of the emphasis and a lot of marketing budgets really should go more into your time as it pertains to online marketing, because you can spend a lot of money on the stuff, the offline things, but you'll get a much higher return on your investment, especially right now when you have some of the stuff, but you gear a lot of your efforts to that online presence. Well, we're going to move into the next square here that we're going to talk about, alliances. Creating some leverage in what it is that you're doing so that you're the center of this marketing universe. And with all these alliances, when some type of a need comes up, there's a lot of people that are working on looking for opportunities for you and with you, and creative thinking and putting different ideas together. So Al, tell us some of the ways that alliances are really powerful.
Well, there's so much in alliances, and let's just hit on a few of them real quick. The If you're in the business of marketing a product, you could create alliances with a wholesale rep, someone that you're buying from. They love to build alliances with you. That's a great place to start. Oftentimes we don't think. I was in a business that I bought a lot of product from a wholesaler, and I never really looked at this back in that day. Geez, I could kind of team up with them and build an alliance with them and help them market me and me market them. But because it was too one-sided. Well, I was buying from them only, and then I had to resell. And the reality is that would have been a great alliance. And maybe at that time it wouldn't have been as effective as it is today. A wholesaler today wants to help their people. They want to help their people sell product, and they're willing to do just about anything to do that. Leverages, and a good point for leveraging is if you have a product, say your market is the antique guy we were talking about. If his market is 40 to 60-year-old women, he could build an alliance with a totally unrelated industry that seeks out 40 to 60-year-old women. And if you're both marketing to the same people, why not share lists? Why not share ideas in terms of how do you market to them? So there's, again, we're just going to touch briefly on that and leave it at that today, but there's so much in terms of creating those strategic alliances to help leverage each other and help each other grow your business.
There are a lot of industries. I know the wedding industry, there's a lot of different people who might target a specific industry that come together. But again, I think the point that Al is making, look outside of your industry. Look at some of those ways that you can create alliances with people that you probably would not have thought of at first glance, because that can be a new trend-setting way to do business. And when you've got those great ideas, you're able to share and go back and forth. What's working for somebody in one industry could work equally as well, if not better, for someone in something completely unrelated. But you've got to be seeking those connections. You've got to be seeking those alliances.
As I'm sitting here thinking, as Sandy's talking, I'm thinking about another one of our clients that we work with. He targets gardeners, typically women in that 40 to 60 range. Now, why couldn't he, because he's targeting that same audience, figure out an alliance with the guy that's doing restoration of antique furniture? They both have a pool of women that they've worked with in that demographic. Why not share? Two totally unrelated industries that could work together to work towards something. And as one tries something, they could pass it on to the other one, and you can move back and forth. So there's a huge potential there, two unrelated industries working together, thinking outside the box.
Absolutely. Well, we've gotten to the last and final square on the marketing tic-tac-toe board here. And one of the things that we like to say is that all roads lead home. Everything that you're doing in your entire marketing strategy should lead home, and your home really should be your online house. Whether that's a website, whether it's a blog, if it's a landing page that you've got existing somewhere, everything that we're doing in every single one of the squares needs to be represented in that online house.
Yeah, that is really the foundation today. If we rolled the clock back 20 years, it wouldn't be nearly as important. But now more than ever, that online presence is huge. And all of this stuff leads to back to home. So each of these squares point to each other, but most importantly, all of them should lead to that corner square, that final destination, that website, that blog, that online home where it can prompt people to do something.
Your online house is going to represent every single square on this marketing tic-tac-toe board. It's going to have identified when your target audience gets to your website, they need to know who they are, and so does everybody else that goes to your website. Thinking like a customer. Again, a lot of times when people do their website design, they design the site for themselves. Really, they need to be designing it with their customer in mind, because that's who really needs to see it. The energy signature, the picture, some audio video of who you are and what you're doing, it needs to be there. And then when you're connecting with people in those networks, online and offline, and creating alliances, it all needs to be going to your online house. The stuff, again, a huge piece of your stuff, your business card, your flyer, if somebody hears an ad on the radio, typically all of that is going to be pointing at your online house. So that's really, you know, every one of these squares is really important, but the online house is critical.
It certainly is. Without that today, which ties into Google and being able to be found and all of that. Today, if you're not on the first page or two of Google, it's like operating a business with an unlisted phone number. So all those roads from everything you do need to lead to your house and point at your website so that Google and the search engines find you important. If they find you important, they'll rank you higher on the search engines, which means you're findable. And if you're findable, then it's operating a business with a listed telephone number. Without it, it's not worth it.
As I was talking about all this and being able to be found, you really need to stand out from the crowd. Everything that you're doing in your marketing needs to identify you as that person, and you need to be identified with what you're doing. When people are thinking about your industry, about what your company has to offer, you need to be at the forefront. So here's just a little snapshot of some of the different ways that Al and I have enjoyed everything that's going on here with the Insights Group. I think we're not really afraid to stand out from the crowd. When we have people into our organization here at the Insights Group, there's a certain expectation of, you know, fun and different things that are going to be happening. We also bring that out into every other opportunity that's put in front of us.
Well, I think we've really realized that for us to be noticed, we have to stand out from the crowd. And our brand is us. Our brand is not the Insights Group. Our brand is not some location. Our brand is the people, and the people have, in this case, have to be us. So standing up from the crowd certainly gets the attention.
Well, we've talked about the organic marketing tic-tac-toe board today, and of course, you know, here's just a slide. We teach organic marketing strategy on a daily basis to businesses, and we'd like to be able to help you navigate this if you'd like to, figure out how to incorporate a lot of these elements into your business and into your life. So I'd like to tell you about a few of the ways that hopefully you can find us and find some resources to help you on this navigation of your marketing journey.
We do have our CDs. We have 3 CDs available on Amazon, and the third one on the page there is the Organic Marketing Explained. It basically goes over what we went over today, but it gives you a really good basis for what organic marketing is, and it allows you to fill in some of those details. Those are available on Amazon. If you just type in keyword Sandi Maki or Alan Curtis, you'll find us, and we'd love to have you take a peek at them and purchase them, and then give us some feedback. Tell us what you think.
Absolutely. We also have a resource for webinars on demand. If you go to the website insightsgroup.blip.tv, you'll be able to find some of the different webinars that we've done. We've got one on social media explained that's up there. At the conclusion of this webinar today, we'll also be putting this one up there so that you can send a friend, or you can watch it again if we went over something quickly and you weren't able to keep followed up on that. So please bookmark the Insights Group on Blip TV for some continuing, you know, introductory information on how this can all work with your business.
We'd love to also have you follow us on Twitter. My call sign is at Alan Curtis, and Sandy's is at Sandi Maki. So please follow us on Twitter, and we will be sure to follow you back.
And thank you. I know a lot of the people attending this webinar today did find us on Twitter, because that was the primary place that we did the promotion that this webinar was going to be happening this evening. So thank you for being there and noticing, because I know already it's been just a huge, huge way that we've been able to connect with so many fantastic people. So if you're one of those that are joining us today thanks to Twitter, then I thank you for being here. Here's another method for connecting with us, friending us on Facebook, facebook.com/Alan Curtis or facebook.com/Sandi Maki. You can also find the Insights Group Facebook page. Again, all roads lead home, and we spend a lot more time on the Insights Group website, insights-group.com, but we do still have the presence on Facebook, so make sure to hang out with us there as well. So maybe on to the organic marketing and how you can become more involved with that.
Well, being that it's organic in nature, what we've done is we've decided to allow you to set the price if you're interested. What we're going to do is we're going to offer each of those 9 squares a webinar on each one of them specifically. We're going to time release them 1 square per week. But again, because we believe in the organic philosophy, we don't have a set price for it. So if you want to take and learn these 9 separate objective squares, which I truly believe are amazing, it's your choice as to what you're willing to pay. Again, we have suggested pricing of $20 per module, which is worth 10 times that easily. And oftentimes, in class and whatnot, we charge considerably more for that. But we are offering it out, and we thought, it's organic. We're organic. We're going to allow you to set the price. Whatever you think it should be for 9 separate modules, price per module, multiply. If you think this would be worth $80 a piece, then you could do 80 times 9. If you think it'd be worth $10 a piece, 10 times 9. We're going to leave that up to you. We'd love to have you here with us to help you teach this philosophy this way. It's very cool. And not only that, we're 100% money back guarantee. If you don't believe that we served you, we'll pay you back. We've believed in that in the Insights group all along. Every meeting that we've ever conducted, every seminar that we've ever given, every CD that we've ever sold, we've told people, if you don't believe that we delivered enough, we'll give you your money back. We're not afraid to stand behind what we believe in, and we believe in this stuff that much.
We do. We'd love to have you a part of this series and webinar trainings. And again, we're letting you set your own price. I really don't know that this will ever happen again. So if you're interested and if you'd like to share this with your friends, we'd absolutely love to have them along as well. We'll give you the website to go to here in just a minute. But, this is really an incredible life-changing philosophy that navigating the marketing tic-tac-toe board has worked for us. It has worked for so many of the people that we've been working with, and we'd like to make it available to you and to your friends. If you do have somebody else in mind that would like to find out more about the organic marketing webinar series, I would suggest that you send them over to the Blip TV station so that they can watch the introduction before they jump right in, because we'll show you here the webinars will be recorded live weekly beginning October 7th. So this Wednesday will be the first live organic marketing where we're really going to get in detail with that center square view. So if you want somebody to be able to follow along what's going on and have seen this introduction first, then I would highly suggest sending them over to Blip TV so they can watch the introduction.
And you won't have, just because it's being recorded live on the 7th, you can join us for the live feed, or you'll be able to get the module. You'll get the link to be able to get the module to watch it at your own leisure. But I will say this. We believe in this. My 16-year-old daughter asked me one day, so what is that thing all about that you're talking about, Dad? And I explained it to her. And she said, well, geez, Dad, this is a map that I could live my life by. And at the same token, I was telling the story, and my brother-in-law, who is a football coach, said, well, geez, I could build a football team this way. The reality is the material applies in a lot of arenas. We're just specifically applying it to organic marketing, to the marketing world.
So if you'd like to be involved in this series of webinar trainings, there will be 9 modules coming up. You can visit the landing page organicmarketing.us or organicmarketing.us, whichever way you'd like to read it. There's a fill in the blank there where you can, again, set your price to receive each of these modules. You can either attend live, they will be weekly on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., or we'll send you the link so that you can always follow along and play them on demand when you've got time in your schedule to really, sit down and listen and figure out how you're going to incorporate some of these in your strategy. So again, organicmarketing.us is where you can find the link to subscribe to these webinars.
Part of what we do here at the Insights Group is personal coaching as well. We are always available. If there's something that we can do to help on a personal level, you can always call and set up a time to be able to discuss with us what's going on, and we can help you navigate through a lot of that. And remember, 100% money back guarantee. Everything we do here, we really believe that we'll deliver it or we're going to give you your money back.
We have worked with incredible, incredible people the Insights group is available as a resource, and we love when people take advantage of that. So here's just a note from one of our, he's smiling like crazy in the pictures, one of our very happy co-parts here. Derek Freund, a No BS certified advisor, has loved what our messages are. We help make the complex simple and easier to understand for the small business owner. So, you know, again, in his own words, listen to what they have to say and know that the Insights group is 2 steps ahead of everybody else. Enjoy the whole experience. So thanks, Derek, for that, that review. I've also got up here a slide. Matt Eichel, President and CEO of Elite Insurance Agency, has been through some of that really intense online training as it comes to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So he's enjoyed learning, and again, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's up 24% over last year and gives, you know, learning some of this from us some of the credit. So we really enjoy having, you know, having had the opportunity to work with Matt and help him figure some of that out.
We've been really fortunate, and we're going to wrap up here. We've been really fortunate to work with a lot of great people, and these are just a few testimonies of the of people that have found value in what we teach. So again, you don't take it from our words, take it from other people's words. This is just what they say. We do believe in it, though, because again, we'll give you your money back if we don't deliver.
We also do group presentations. The organic marketing message can be taken into a large company, a small company, anything in between. So really, if there's teams of people that would like to be working on this concept, we're happy to help. Jill Treat Hawkins had us in to help them figure out some of their organic marketing strategy. We're able to help all different size organizations. So if you've got someone in mind, or if you'd like to pass the word along that this is available, it is absolutely a transforming concept, brand new, amazing and wonderful, and really success at every turn when you navigate this way. Because just like with anything organic, growing a garden, planting a seed, measuring how much sunlight does it need, how much water, marketing can be the same way. So instead of putting all of your time and effort and energy and money into one area, this is really an organic way of growing your entire business. So it's just an incredible process. So again, that landing page, if you'd like to become involved with the Organic Marketing Series, organicmarketing.us, just visit that, and we would be happy to take you along on this journey with us.
So thank you for listening to us, and if you do have questions for us of a specific nature, our phone number is also there, available at 810-623-5839.
And please visit us on the website. Again, find us on Twitter and Facebook. Let's stay connected and continue on this fantastic journey. Now is an absolutely fantastic time for anybody to be in business. Marketing is so exciting right now because there's so many incredible ways to do this. So thank you for listening. I'm Sandi Maki, again, with the Insights Group.
And I'm Al Curtis with the Insights Group, and we do appreciate everything that you've been able to stay with us tonight and hang out with us.
Thank you. So make it a great rest of your day and have a fantastic time in the week ahead.